I greet you from the heart here at THEKI, your podcast for consciousness, health, and happiness. My name is Sandra, and today I'm going to be talking about a rather unusual topic. Our heritage, superhuman, dragon, and phoenix. This topic has been coming up more and more in recent months. And looking ahead to 2024, I'd already spoken about how this very special energy of the year of the dragon can help us all to walk our path now, to know how, where, what, and which way to go. But the phoenix has also been showing itself to me more and more. And actually, I'm the kind of person who looks for signs everywhere, or rather, I understand how the matrix, the divine matrix, communicates with me so that it shows up everywhere, in conversations, in mountains, in clouds, in meditations, in fire, in coffee foam, or even just as a single word. And I could hardly get away from the phoenix in recent months, especially in the mountains here in South Africa. I've seen it everywhere. So at some point, I opened myself up to what kind of message that was and listened and observed. And in the process, I've gained many insights and connections that I'd like to share with you today, but also split up into further podcasts because it's often too much to squeeze it all into one. But I can tell you right now, the quintessence is deep. Even if we're approaching it through a very unusual topic now, like dragon and phoenix, anyone who's been following me for a few years knows that these aren't really my usual topics. But when they present themselves, I accept them just like any other topic. In this case, this quintessence is a very deep insight and unification of opposing qualities in this current quality of time. Let's take a look together at my collected impressions. Guardians of DNA, guardians of primal knowledge are dragon and phoenix. So dragon and phoenix are archetypes, they are primal forces, which manifest as guardians of the earth in different qualities, but which ultimately work together. There are also other guardians, such as the highly intelligent dolphins and whales, about which I've already written a lot. They guard our waters, and they do so at a very, very high frequency. And by that, I don't just mean the Earth's waters, the seas and lakes and rivers, but also the waters within us. Within us humans, we are made up of about 80%, in the brain even more, of water. And in the airspace, that's where the eagles are active, the guardians of the skies and the spiritual. And of course, in us humans, they are also responsible for our breath, for our rhythm. How do I breathe life in? How do I breathe it out again? And also our inner alignment, meaning the spine, but also sincerity and truthfulness can be influenced by this. So there are such guardians of the earth, multi-layered. And we're talking about animal species that generally live on this planet at the moment. But there are also those who don't live on Earth right now, but belong deeply to it. And during the time when they practically don't fit this current vibration, they hold the subtle space, so the aura of the earth, so to speak. And I've already done a podcast on that called Matrix Change. I'll link it here again because, of course, I can't go into everything so deeply every time. But it's actually important, if you're interested in it, to understand it in depth. In it, I explain why the animal races on this earth will change and why that's not bad at all. So there's absolutely no reason to worry because everything is now moving into a new vibrational level and thus into a new higher order. And so in this transition, there will be animals that will leave the earth now for a long time and other animals that come back after a long, long time because the vibration now fits their mission again. And that is the completely natural cycle of day and night, of life and death that we are allowed to experience here. And we shouldn't want to control that. And not want to prevent it. We can't do that anyway. Instead, we should look at the changes with wonder and love and resonate with them. Deep in our hearts, we know that life is always for us. And we should just become more and more aware of that and not let ourselves be distracted. by others who say, oh God, we have to prevent this, we have to save things, and so on. No, you can't save anything. Nothing is in danger at all. It's a completely natural process. Something goes and something else comes. And now it is simply the right time. But today isn't about the message that the dragon and phoenix are returning, so let's not include that right away, although I wouldn't want to rule it out. But that's not what I'm trying to say today. Rather, it's about the powers that the dragon and phoenix represent and which we can truly use for ourselves and for the world at this time within us. Subtle forces always manifest first as energy within us in our world and then become manifest through us as incarnated beings. So at the right time, we also manifest these energies again, which can then actually show themselves again as manifest animals. Can show. Let's examine this vibration more closely now in order to dive into the realization of these new possibilities for ourselves. Let's start with the dragon. The dragon is, so to speak, the sun of the day. For both the dragon and the phoenix, it's about the sun. But the dragon is the sun of the day and the phoenix is the sun of the night. So the dragon, I've already written quite a bit about this regarding 2024, and I'll touch on it again now to make a smooth transition here. The dragon is the strongest sign in the Chinese zodiac, and if we harness this power within us, which the dragon provides during a dragon year, then things become possible that we might have once truly considered impossible. The dragon is fundamentally very charismatic, assertive, the yang element, magnetic, dignified, and noble. And somehow just not of this world. He is, after all, a mythical creature. Maybe he was once of this world, but currently, in our reality, he's a mythical creature. Furthermore, he acts very consciously and clearly, spreading an atmosphere of victory, of an impending victory. So you can already look forward to it. Together with him, you're already programmed for success. So long story short, you feel good with him. And now, of course, those born in the year of the dragon are also favored by these qualities. But anyone can energetically tap into these qualities, especially now in the year of the dragon. And those who know how to use this power will very quickly, and this is now simply possible, find themselves in timelines that tell a new story: happiness, abundance, love, success, joy, and so on. And what's important here is that we simply know what we want, because with this dragon power, we gain an extremely strong ability to assert ourselves. And we need to know what we want to assert, so that we don't get bogged down. So what we begin, the seeds we're sowing now, they're going to grow very quickly. And that means mindfulness. Be aware of your values. We can achieve significant progress and also observe it in the world. Changes we've been waiting for a very long time, where we thought, when is it finally coming? Is it even coming at all? That's all happening now. They say that people who live the vibration of the dragon, they live on the outside, often in a role that we perceive as the brave, the victorious warriors, leaders, but also the hermits or simply chosen ones with a special mission. And in this context, the sun of the day also energetically means the masculine energy, that is the light. The activity, the logic, the drive, the element of fire, that is the masculine. And at this point, I'd also like to point out an extensive 2-part podcast of mine, which I'll link below, where I explain the topic of darkness, dark matter, and so on in more detail. Because it's all so complex, I can't address it every time, but it's very, very important and relevant right now. So definitely listen to this podcast again if you don't know it or if you don't remember exactly what it was about. It's really very important for today's times to understand that the sun symbolizes the light within us, and that through the sun of the day, the sun that brings us this daylight, we receive the codes of the new era. And those are there are incredible information packages flooding our system in light frequencies and slowly unfolding within us. And so not only is inactive DNA activated within us, but damaged DNA is also repaired. And through the activation and repair, all our potential that's still lying dormant is activated. And with it, a global living network of love among all world lights, as I call them, meaning all the awakened ones, all the lights of this world. And when this network is simply fully active, it's already very active, but not yet continuous, not yet in its full power. But when it's fully active, it has incredible power, incredible multidimensional reach. And now we come to the phoenix, the son of the night. In Chinese mythology. And it's like our fairy tales, there's always a lot to it. The male and female alignment of dragon and phoenix is shown, namely in the terms emperor and empress. So the dragon is the emperor and the phoenix the empress. And in our language, an idiom has remained that you surely know, like rising like a phoenix from the ashes. And we usually say that when we want to encourage someone or when we talk about someone who has overcome a very important hurdle in their life. So they've made an unexpected and also impressive comeback, so to speak. The phoenix has been a symbol of immortality for millennia because, according to ancient legend, it burns completely, turns to ash, and is then reborn from its ashes. And so that is really thousands of years old. It was then distorted a bit at some point. This legend is already known from ancient Egypt. Then it was told a bit differently by the Greeks. And then it was told a bit differently by the Romans. And of course, with the installation of institutional Christianity, it was distorted a bit more. But in Christianity too, the phoenix became the symbol of the resurrection after the crucifixion. So like rising like a phoenix from the ashes, you were crucified and are reborn. And also with Buddha, the phoenix is visible because his ego died and he was reborn into egolessness. And with that, the phoenix shares a very important message with us. Die as who you believe you are, so your ego personality, so that you can be what you truly are. I'll say it again, and I really want you to hear this. Die as who you believe you are, so that you can become who you truly are. And that means die with all your layers, with all your pain, with all your traumas, with the untruths and insincerities, with your greed, with your stinginess. Die with all your lovelessness, your judgment, your separation, the separation from existence. Let all your illusions die and recognize who you truly are. That's what the phoenix tells us. And that's powerful, isn't it? In ancient Egypt, Ra was the sun god. And this sun god, he wandered through the underworld at night, through the darkness, to renew and rejuvenate himself there, and the next morning to practically appear in the sky again in full strength and youthfulness. We need both. Son of the night and son of the day. Yes, and what is the quintessence now, and what can you do? So it's interesting that the phoenix stands for the black sun, the sun inside the earth, the plasma. And I've said a lot about that in the podcast I mentioned about darkness. So the phoenix also stands for the darkness within us. And this darkness, it still wants to be explored. And in that podcast I mentioned, I also explain exactly why we were tricked into equating darkness with evil and therefore rejecting darkness, becoming afraid of the darkness. It can be our first act to release ourselves, to free ourselves from this mental imprisonment again, and to perceive darkness as one of our powers, our feminine power, passive, intuitive, powerful, protective, preserving. It is the element of water within us. And the next act can then be to really explore the darkness within us, to explore it wisely and consciously, and not in search of evil, that's complete nonsense, but in search of incredible power and bound, unrecognized potential that now wants to be released and integrated into us again. And that's exactly what's happening right now in this quality of time. I'll do something extra on that. So the Phoenix helps us to travel through the underworld into our own inner world. And it helps us to understand in fine spiritual consciousness what this world is and what constitutes our world inside in its foundations, so what is also truly real. And you can travel with the Phoenix in your vision. Look at where the darkness still causes fear, especially at night when you walk through dark alleys. Yes, but also in dark corners of your inner self. Be aware that you can switch on a light inside you at any time. A light of awareness that can perceive and accept everything. Give yourself the gift of acknowledging your most repressed parts and integrating them into your conscious being. This is the gift of perfection to yourself from which you have been cut off for so long. Nothing, absolutely nothing about you is evil. Nothing. It was just locked away deep in the basement of the subconscious. And with the sun that you are, you can now lovingly illuminate this basement and recognize it as a space for your potential. It's about the balance of light and shadow, of good and evil, of fire and water, of all these supposed opposites within us, with which we then enter this heart-based power that makes us the superhuman we are when we are free. Reunite yourself with everything that you are. At the same time, this is also the greatest gift to this world. Because when people are centered in their hearts again, then they are exactly this power of the two suns. Then they live their divinity. And then everything that is not love and peace ends immediately. And when it ends within us, then it ends in the world because we are the world. And then we can also be true guardians of the earth again. It's wonderful that you exist. See you soon.